trade a man who's called the Merchant of Death, an actual arms dealer, Viktor Bout, for an anti-American flag kneeler. Something about this seem a little off to you guys? Before we dig into this, I want to go let you guys know right off the bat that this video right here will be on both Gear Issue 33 and it will be here on John Claymore as well. And this video right here, the Claymore cut of this video, we're going to be talking more about the cultural significance of this right here. And of course, on the Gear Issue 33 cut, we're going to be talking more of the foreign policy implications as a result of this, because quite frankly, America looks very incompetent and very weak, which by the way doesn't surprise me considering the fact who the hell the president is and who the hell is controlling this government. But let's go ahead and dive into this. So guys, I made a video a while back about Brittney Griner, simply titled Why No One Cares About Brittney Griner. In that video, I basically explained that she was a flag kneeler, and we quite frankly didn't really care how long she was spent overseas, because basically you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You can't go over to Russia, you can't go over to these countries and have a tiny bit of a cannabis oil in your bag. It's just not the way it works. They will, especially if you're an American, they will lock you up and they will keep you there much, much longer than you need to be. Either way, I thought the charge was stupid. However, at the same time, I did not feel bad for her because, quite frankly, she was a flag kneeler, very, very anti-American, very, very much a social justice warrior who complained about the United States. And then out of the middle of nowhere, she goes over to Russia for competition. She pops or she gets busted with a very, very small amount of cannabis oil. And, of course, here she is getting sentenced to 10 years. By the way, this is very, very weird because Brittney is gay. And yet we're finding out that the UAE helped facilitate this move. Yeah, a UAE, the country that actually throws gays off of roofs of houses. Very, 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 very weird. Don't worry, we'll probably talk about that more in the Gear Issue 33. I just figured I would throw that out there. But this right here makes America look stupid and weak. First and foremost, Viktor Bout. He's an arms dealer. He's worked for both sides of the aisle, meaning he's worked against the United States. He's worked for the United States. He's worked against us in Iraq. He worked against us when it came to Afghanistan. He sold weapons to our actual enemies. He's partially responsible for some of the deaths overseas that we experienced. Okay, I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. As a matter of fact, Viktor Bout is actually the basis of the movie Lord of War. If you've never actually seen it, of course, it stars Nicolas Cage and stars Ethan Hawke, and of course, it stars Jared Leto, and it's loosely based upon Viktor Bout and Viktor Bout's life and actually what he did. So let me ask you a serious question. What do you think Putin is actually thinking right now? Putin is thinking he could probably still own the United States. Not to mention the fact that we're leaving Paul Whelan over there, a Marine who was accused of espionage, which, by the way, there was no actual proof that he was actually guilty of that, but obviously left over there. And, of course, Biden, of course, did not want to negotiate that. I mean, dude, I didn't care about Brittney Griner, but if you're going to send over Viktor Bout, you could at least make a competent trade, and you could at least get us our Marine back. I mean, you could at least do that right there. Somebody who's actually fought for the country, somebody who's actually done something for the country versus someone who actually hates the country, if you guys are kind of picking up on my drift. Fact of the matter is that we look entirely incompetent and entirely stupid, and of course, Biden is trying to spin this entire thing as a great big giant win.
Heal from her time being wrongfully detained. Brittney is an incomparable athlete, a two-time Olympic gold medalist for Team USA. She endured mistreatment and a show trial in Russia with characteristic grit and incredible dignity. She represents the best America, best about America. It is across the board, everything about her. She wrote to me back in July.
Best of us? Seriously? Best of us? First and foremost, and I don't mean to be an asshole to the WNBA, but your league is not exactly harboring the best of people right now. You guys scream and holler about pay, yet your league sucks, and you quite frankly draw nothing more than flies to shit at your actual game. So I highly doubt this right here is the best of us. Also, the mere fact that you're anti-American kind of clamps down on the whole notion of you not being one of the best of us, Brittney. To call Brittney Griner the best of us, that right there is just an extremely poor, very, very bad taste. So the tatted up WNBA star who hates America is the best of us. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but this right here kind of sounds a little bit like more and more woke virtue signaling. I don't friggin' know how to actually square this one. Guys, I gotta say this really quick. When you give up a weapons dealer, who, by the way, the minute he gets back to Russia, what's more than likely going to happen is that Putin's going to have his people go in there. They're probably going to wine and dine him, and they're going to They're going to swoon him over to their side, and they're probably going to use him in the effort in Ukraine. By the way, Viktor Bout also helped train fighters. He actually helped train militias. So I have a feeling that this Ukrainian war is going to get a lot worse. By the way, that right there also, I got to bring this up because this right here shows you exactly how dumb this administration is. So you mean to tell me that you're fighting this war in Ukraine, you're financing this war in Ukraine. Now, granted, no troops are on the ground. Well, actually, I take it back. There are some people there. We're not going to get too much into that, but we'll probably do another video at a later date on that same issue. You are sending all of our tax dollars to Ukraine, so that way they can fight a war against Russia. You then turn right back around in a prisoner swap. You give Russia an actual asset that they could use in the war against us. Does that make any sense? I mean, that makes absolutely no sense at all. As a matter of fact, the only thing it goes to prove is that the current thing voters, the liberal voters, the Biden voters are just dumber than we originally thought. So yes, I've got to ask the question, how and in what way was this smart? So you give Viktor Bout to Russia. They're going to use Viktor Bout against Ukraine. We're sending tax dollars to Ukraine. This right here makes absolutely no sense. So essentially, we're sending tax dollars and we're also sending somebody that can be used against us, against the interest of the American people who, by the way, like I said before, they had their tax dollars being sent to finance their war. I mean, does any of this right here make any sense to you? I mean, it's bad enough that you made a trade for Brittney Griner. It's bad enough that you left Paul Whelan over there. But to simply give Russia back somebody that they're going to use against you, which, by the way, like I said, we're financing the war against them. I don't know if you guys ever heard this before. Have you guys ever heard the old stories about how it was the United States was financing both sides of a conflict, financing both sides of a war? Well, you just saw this on full open display with this move. Which, by the way, makes me also scream shady in a couple of other areas. Number one, as I may have mentioned before, Brittney Griner is going to end up in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, very, very anti-gay people. It makes me wonder if something may be going on there. And then to go on top of that, as I mentioned before, we're basically financing both sides of the war, and we're basically putting it out there. I mean, it used to be back in the day that the United States was a little bit more clandestine about this. They would kind of like, and by the way, I love my country, okay? I love my country. I mean, I would not do this if I did not love my country. But the fact of the matter is I'm starting to believe all those old stories about how it was that we were financing both sides of an actual conflict. By the way, Viktor Bout had no loyalty to anyone. He sold weapons to Angola while at the same time selling weapons to this person over here, their actual enemy, who they were actually fighting. That's kind of sort of what arms dealers do. They have no actual loyalty. However, I do know for a fact that Viktor Bout will be controlled by Putin, and he will be used against Ukraine, of which, by the way, I mentioned before, we're sending tax dollars over there to fight Russia. This doesn't make any sense. If anything, it tells me that there may be something else going on a little bit further down the line. We'll probably discuss that in later videos on Gear Issue 33. But the fact of the matter is that this trade right here was probably the most incompetent trade I think I've ever heard. Absolutely worse than what happened in the case of Bo Bergdahl. And this right is absolutely just a great 100% pure disgrace. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. It's more of a reaction to what the hell is going on. Like I said before, if you guys want to leave a comment, please do, and I'll see you.